We have 6 people. Woot woot, let's talk detox. Yeah, Sharon, we got this. All right, so I'm gonna get started. Thanks for joining me here at 11:11, the mystical hour. One of my favorite times. I love symbolic times. So here we're just gonna talk about detox, obviously, but spring reset. It's sort of spring in Alberta. How ironic that we had a snowstorm last night. But this is the detox kind of prep for May 1st. We're doing a cleanse group. And it's all about actually just prepping our detox. We're also, like May 1st, it's not going to be a harsh detox. I've always designed my detox kits, I call them detox kits, for nourishing your detoxification systems. So we're just going to do a reset. We're going to get things flowing because, winter, things get a bit, we're hibernating and gets a bit sluggish. So I wanted to talk about mostly detox and drainage and what that means, what our elimination pathways are, which are basically our detoxification systems, how they work. Education is power. And here we are. So I'm Elaine Doucette. I'm a clinical herbalist and iridologist and fermentation revivalist. So I'm going to talk a little bit about ferments here today. How exciting. That's my favorite topic. And you can catch my whole entire bio and resume, my lifelong story on my website there, theherbalmama.com. So if you want to learn more, but basically I've been doing these cleanse groups for 12 years this year. And this is kind of a reboot for me too. So I've upgraded a lot, lots of revisions. I practice yearly. I love doing detoxes. I don't even want to call it a detox. I love nourishing my detox systems. I love nourishment, fermentation, herbs, all these things. I like collecting my own herbs, which we're going to talk about with my bitters blend. It's all foraged from my property up in northern Alberta. So this is a prep for the May 1st cleanse group. And I know a lot of you that are watching here. Hey, Evangeline. A lot of you here are interested in either picking up a detox kit or, this is going to sort of teach you how to do it yourself. There's a lot of lifestyle things you can do to support your drainage, your elimination, detoxification pathways. And that's kind of what we're here for, to prep you. And if you choose to pick up one of my kits that I've, foraged mostly and fermented, then definitely I welcome you to that. If you're in Edmonton or Canada, I just ship some off to Thunder Bay and to BC. That's Katerina and Tina should be on here. I think they're working today, so they'll get the recording. But hi, guys. Hi in the recording. So yeah, just a little bit, like if you're chatting, I could see the chat. I might not answer your questions or whatever till the end, just to keep it flowing. And if you can't stay on the whole time, it'll be about an hour. I will send the recording to, if you're RSVP'd on my website, under the free class, I will be sending you the recording link, but the link will be back up on this site under live videos, YouTube. I'm going to keep it public. So if you want to watch the recording and watch all my pretty slides that I have coming, I'm really excited about this. So yeah, so the cleanse group starts May 1st. This is the prep class. It'll be about an hour. We're going to go over some basics, ABCs of detox, the core 4, just that within itself. Some people might want to start there. And then if you wanted to go ahead, like I said, with the bitters, it's just going to support everything. It's not going to be a crazy detox. This is not really a detox. I'm going to talk about drainage before detox right away here. But yeah, so here's the class. We start the full reset cleanse group online May 1st to the 14th, 14 days. I'll have live classes on May 1st and the 15th. So it's like the day after the 14 day. And on the 15th, I kind of wanted to do a bonus. I used to do these liver flush prep classes where we'd prep for either 14 days or 30 days. And it's, it depends how you feel. And it's kind of like a check-in, like, let's check in to see if you're ready for a big flush. Are you ready for a fast? Liver flush is a bit of like it's like a one-day fast, and definitely should prep for that. So anyways, we're going to talk about that. That's a bonus on May 15th. So there's the little list, and I will email that to y'all as well. So yeah, let's keep going. I want to talk about iridology. Just a little plug for iridology. I also offer the kind of find your gut type, don't know what you want to start. I mean, I would start with the Bitters Spring Reset Detox Kit, but the iridology can give you more insight to see which organ systems want the most attention and they need the most elimination. So you can book that right on my site. It starts at $50 and you send me a picture and bam, 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 I'll send you a little reading and you'll know exactly which elimination systems, which detox systems, which we're going to learn about all of them today, need the most attention. How fun is that? All right, so a little bit of a more introduction, but this is how I got started. I had lifelong gut issues. So I use Nourishing Traditions. Actually, after I had my first babe, and my doula recommended to do fermentation to get things going, get things moving. And so I love this book, Nourishing Traditions. It has recipes. It's a cookbook. It has recipes. There's a whole chapter on fermentation. I've done every fermentation recipe in there. It's like the original condiments, you guys, was fermentation, like fermented ketchup, fermented mustard, relish, all those things that are now, on the shelf. They were in your grandma's kitchen, great grandma's kitchen. So I fell in love with this book, and this kind of took me to the fermentation world that I'm here today. And then just loving how I felt when I did enough detox and supported my gut, supported all those systems. Like, it was definitely life-changing for me. So this is my journey. I recommend this book. It's incredible. Even like if people are, because there's it's a pretty meat heavy book, talks about like sourcing your meat properly. But even with vegetarians or vegans, I've helped a lot kind of process and prepare their beans, legumes, grains properly. So yeah, without going into that detail, but this book is incredible for so many ways to prepare your food properly and kind of our ancestral nutrition before disease. All right, so let's get right into it. So detoxification. What is detox? What's the definition? It's to remove harmful substances, right? There's poisons and toxins from exposure in our environment. One thing that's interesting, like always, I'm sure you've heard of like people trying to become tolerant of poison. So they take a little bit of poison every day and then they're not going to die if they get exposed to it. So that's what literally our body is so adaptable, and it will create a tolerance to toxic. That's what we're doing, toxic exposure. So we have this false homeostasis, and it's like, yeah, I feel fine. But these little disease things kind of creep up and you have like symptoms. I'm just going to jump a little bit, but like anxiety, restlessness, insomnia, those are like little symptoms, but it's a sign that your body is in a bit of a false homeostasis. So if you kind of disrupt this balance to restore a healthier state, to try to deal with, all these issues on a foundational level, it can be very uncomfortable. You could get a healing crisis. So the process is, it's essential to be delicate. So that's what I want to, why we're here, to talk about the gentle way to start supporting our detox systems and start draining before detox kind of thing. So yeah, so any of these symptoms are signs of toxicity. I mean, dis-ease is the body is toxic somewhere. Like where in the body? That's why iridology is amazing, because I can actually really pinpoint. And then you can also just just support the whole system with all these like basics I'm going to be talking about right away. So how to detox and why? Because it's we have harmful chemicals in our food. There's pesticides, pharmaceuticals, and water. I used to work at Optimum Health, and we used to test tap water regularly. And there was traces of pharmaceuticals in it. Blood pressure medication and birth control were the highest tested. Can you believe that? We have pollution in the air. We can smell it in the city. There's microplastics. There's a lot of studies coming out with microplastics. And guess what? Clears out microplastics in your gut. Kimchi. Have anybody seen those studies? So exciting. So there you go. That's part of the, Herbal Mama detox support system. Chronic stress will form physical toxins in your body. So, that's something to look at too. So looking at your stress levels and how to deal with those, that's definitely a core 4 we're going to talk about right away. So to maintain vibrant health and wellness, we must nourish our detox systems and prepare the elimination systems. So what are those? Here we go. So drainage before detox. The herbal bitters, that's where the herbal bitters comes in. It helps to support the main detox system, the liver, keeping the bile, the bile produced and flowing. So let's talk a little bit about that. So drainage refers to the pathways in the body that the body uses for eliminating waste. So think of the body as a house with plumbing, right? You could turn on the taps, that's detox. So you can turn on the taps and rinse it all out. But if the drains are clogged, the water will overflow and flood the system. And that'll create a huge mess and very uncomfortable for your house. Well, think about how your body feels. Your body would find that very uncomfortable because there's no exits to leave the body. The exits are blocked. So that's where drainage comes in and elimination, right? So the pathways of elimination are all the detoxification systems. Got the colon, the liver, the bile ducts, kidney, urinary tract. This is pretty obvious, right? What we use to eliminate. We've got the lymphatic system, the lungs, deep breathing. That's like basic elimination. Skin, you got sweating, right? Actually, I go into this in the next slide. And the brain, the lymphatic system. So again, kind of it works with the lymphatic, but it's crossing the blood-brain barrier. And if you don't drain that, then you're going to get brain fog. So all these work together, obviously, just like, holistic. This is holistic medicine, and that's how the body works holistically. So drainage is the foundation. Clear the exit so detoxification can actually succeed and not make you sick, not give you that healing crisis. So it's like the hierarchy of healing is sort of the language. And sorry, I'm just looking. It looks like I'm not going to look at my screen. It's so distracting. Hierarchy of healing, drainage first, support phase 1 and 3 elimination. That's liver. Okay, sorry. So hierarchy of healing is drainage first. So we're going to drain by supporting all those systems, making sure things flow. And then the next step, I should have number 2 there, support phase 1 and 2 elimination. That's your liver. The liver kind of methylates things. It gives it a methyl group. And then phase 2 is dumping it out. And then the activate phase is phase 3. That is the bowels. So if those aren't flowing, if the liver is not producing enough bile, and the bile is really sticky and cloggy and has maybe some gallstones, right? That, like, you don't want to go right into a flush. You want to make sure your liver is producing bile first. That's where bitters come in. That's why I recommend bitters for the first stage. That's going to be your drainage stage. And then obviously the elimination bowel phase, we all know what that means. And so that is where you want, gentle things to keep the flow going. So hydration, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. What's holding up the bowels? It's usually hydration. And fiber is a good one, but without hydration, fiber can actually not eliminate very well. And then you need the microbiome supported. So that's the ABCs of detox we're going to get into right away. And then, so the next stage 4 kind of thing here is mobilize deeper toxins. That's when you get into the harsh detox kits, the harsh laxatives, the liver flushes, the fasting. So that would be after you have everything in order. That's when I would do that, or else you're going to have a healing crisis, right? So drainage first, guys. In my spring reset, we have the liver and the bile supported with bitters, the colon with the prebiotic fiber. So a really, herbal fiber force for you. Some clay to just zap it all up so you don't get it reabsorbed, and a gentle laxative just to make sure things are moving. And I'll go over what's in my colon sweep blend, part of the kit, which I recommend, plus ferments. And then the cleanse group will support basic lifestyle, which is what we're going to talk about in this prep class. So you can just do it. You can DIY this, guys. This is great information. Education's power. Makes a lot of sense, right, Fola? Thanks, Fola. So the 5 detoxification systems, here they are, guys. And then plus the lymphatics. Lymphatics they're kind of like the forgotten one. I just clump them under skin here, but I just definitely don't want to miss them because there's more and more information coming out with them because I think they've been ignored for so long. Poor lymphatic system. Anyway, so the liver is the number one. That's usually it's the busiest detox system. It's the second largest. The first largest is skin. But it's the fat factory, hormone factory. It literally builds stress hormones from your chronic stress. You're watching an action movie and you're tightening up. Your liver's like, okay, let's produce some stress hormones. And that can be a toxin if you're doing it all the time. So it's insane how many, how much work your body's doing without us even knowing it, right? So it's the phase 1 and 2 detox pathways. That's what it's in charge of. It's a bile producer, and the gallbladder is the holding tank for the bile. So that's how they work together. And then, there might be gallstones in there. If there is, then you know that there is too much going on. There is a big lineup for the liver, for things to process through the liver. Things have to process through, like a lot of fats have to process through the liver. All right, hopefully that makes sense. And then bowels and gut is the other system. That's a big system too. That's the phase 3 detox. That's the final dump, literally. And the gut microbiome bacteria will transform nutrients for us, specifically starches and fibers. Actually, we don't digest fibers. The bacteria does it for us. Isn't that amazing? I'm going to talk a little bit more about bacteria coming up here on the ABCs of detox. Can you guess what B is? B is for bowels. Okay, so starches and sugars. So yeah, bacteria, the bowels can transform sugar for us before it even gets to the blood system. So a fermented gut will clean up. Kind of rhymes. That's nice. The other one is the lungs. Don't forget about them. So breath work, conscious breath work, can detoxify the system. And there's a lot of correlation with, I've been doing a lot of research on the lymphatic system and fascia and tension in the body. And breath work is a big one. That will actually push the lymph through the system, the lymphatics through the system. Actually, I should include that too. So yeah, so it helps to release the air pollution, obviously. And it's the respiratory system that detoxifies. They're like big filters, these lungs. I'm so thankful for them. The kidneys is the water factory, water detoxification system, filters water soluble toxins, and obviously influences bladder health. The bladder is the elimination part. And then the skin. So skin is the largest detox system. It absorbs everything you touch, as much you get all these chemical products and makeup and all these things, and it's fine. Our skin is an absorbable barrier. Like there's even studies showing that you touch receipts that are full of microplastic, and you're going to get an impact of it's an estrogenic effect, a xenoestrogen. It mimics plastic, petrochemicals mimic estrogen. So it's becoming more and more well known, but it's been ignored for way too long. So sweating is the main mechanism for skin to detox, and then obviously elimination of chemicals and products that you put on your skin. The lymph system, it's directly under the skin, so that's why I kind of clumped it in there, but I really believe there's 6 detoxification systems here. And the glymphatic is the other one, but it's the lymph. It's just the one that goes to the brain directly in, and it's in charge of kind of drainage through the blood system. And there is no pump for it, but the best way to move it is through massage. So light massage, there's lymphatic massage you can get from massage therapists, and it's it's kind of getting more well known now, but it's very light. You could do dry skin brushing, massage yourself. And exercise, moving your body. And then deep breathing should be in there too. So that will help. I mean, even getting a healthy gut microbiome, the lymph system is it's all a part of the gut as well. So you need it all to support all the systems. So there we go. So supporting all those systems, it takes kind of the ABCs of detox. And the reason why this is the ABCs of detox is a sort of one at a time approach. You start where do I start? Well, you start at A. You start at are you drinking enough water? And what kind of water are you drinking? We're going to go over that right away. And adrenal support. What's your stress? What's your stress load? Do you have a work-life balance? Do you find joy in life? Or is it just chronic, dooming, glooming stress. So what's going on with the stress systems? That's like the first place you start, and that can literally be your detox right there. Like I recommend a lot of, nerve support, adrenal support. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that right away here. And this is borrowed from mainly Isabella Wentz. She's a medical doctor that, there's her awesome website, thethyroidpharmacist.com. Anything about thyroid health. She is cutting edge, amazing. And she healed herself of Hashimoto's. She was exposed to Chernobyl as a young girl. And she had Hashimoto's and just all these strange autoimmune conditions. She could barely walk, and she detoxed herself, but she did it very slowly and it took years. And she kind of created this whole system. A lot of other practitioners follow the ABCs of detox, and she was kind of the grandmother of that. And so again, for the most gentle results, approach it in order. So then you're not going to overwhelm your system. And this is the best way to just kind of support the elimination system, support the drainage in your system. So we get the first and foremost, drink water, right? Like how many people can say like, oh, I drink enough water all day. I mean, I do practice what I preach most of the time, but some days I don't. And we're going to talk about what kind of water. I do have the best water in the world, so I should be drinking it. We'll talk more about that. And B is for bowels and the gut microbiome. So obviously we're, ferments. Where am I going with that? Ferments, obviously. And then getting the right amount of fiber, what kind of fiber, and making sure they're flowing, right? And then C is for cleanse. That's when you can go to the more harsh cleanse, fasting, or liver flush, or, harsh detox kits with purging herbs and all that kind of thing. So A is for adrenals, and then alkaline water is the next slide here. So adrenals, what are they? They are basically they're basically nerve bundles. Actually, there's two of them. They sit on top of your kidneys, and they're the first response to stress. They are, that fight or flight. They produce adrenaline, right? So it's the HPAA system, the endocrine system. HPAA means hypothalamus pituitary, so that's your brain, adrenal axis. And then thyroid's in the middle. Thyroid's kind of known as the filter. So it's all a part of how the nervous system, the brain, and the hormone system are all connected. It's your fight or flight. Yeah, it's your steroid hormones, right? So stress hormones. Hormone balance, that's a big part of that. So when women go into menopause, the adrenals are responsible for building hormones. They are the sole provider. So if you're having menopausal issues, it's generally HPAA. So it could be adrenal derived, thyroid, brain, but just basically steroid hormones, getting enough good fats. It's a huge, they call it the hormone soup because there's a lot going in on it. And it's anxiety generally is from malnourished adrenals. They support fertility. Again, same, just the whole HPAA system. So all these things here in this little picture can affect the adrenals. So major stress, like death of a loved one, losing your job, too much coffee, caffeine. I mean, knowing your body. I put a lot of adaptogens in my coffee just to prevent that because I love coffee. And I talk a lot about that in my cleanse groups. Somebody just asked me, they got a kit, and they said, can I still drink coffee? And I'm like, I do. And I'll show you what I do. In the cleanse kit, I actually have adrenal supportive herbs in the fiber blend. Wink, wink. So anyways, not promoting coffee. I mean, definitely if you take that out, it's going to help to nourish the system. And that's the first system you want to make sure is nourished for having the most comfortable detox experience if you're going to go ahead with a harsh detox. So this kind of brings into the core four, and I'm kind of repeating myself, but repetition is the mother of all education. So here we are. So core four is about stress support. So if you don't have these four things in order, your body's going to be stressed. Like if you're not eating real food, junk food is very stressful on the liver and all the elimination systems, right? Eliminate junk foods to support elimination. Over processed foods. We all know what junk food is, I'm sure. But there's some surprising things that we just don't even realize. Like Nourishing Traditions really goes over like anti-nutrients and like why you should rinse your rice thrice, and quinoa and all your grains and legumes and beans. Like sprouting can really help to eliminate things like kale also too, like, the oxalic acids and beets even. So like I recommend beet kvass. Fermentation helps to eliminate all that. So Nourishing Traditions talks about all the primitive way of preparing food, and primitive is a compliment. Our ancestors, what they used to do before disease took over our modern day lifestyles. Number 2, obviously you want to stress less. So look at what is making you stress. Are you finding time for quiet? Meditation can come in many forms. Walking meditation, breath work, take a bath. Magnesium is something that helps to relax the muscles. If you have a lot of muscle tension, maybe your trace minerals could be off, but magnesium is a good one to start with. Counseling, if you've had a lot of unfortunate things happen in your life. So looking at your stress load, are you handling stress? If not, what can you do? And then that will help to support your detoxification systems, and you won't feel toxic, and you won't get any disease or feel uncomfortable. Yoga is a good one. Are you sleeping enough? So all these things will help you to sleep enough, because if you don't sleep, you feel, I feel stressed if I don't sleep enough. I'm sure we can all relate with that. So I like to recommend herbal adaptogens during the day if you can't sleep at night, or just helping you to adapt to stressors in your life. So making sure you're supporting the nervous system, supporting the endocrine system, supporting the adrenals. These are my favorite: rhodiola, reishi, chaga, holy basil. Love them. And B vitamins are found in fermented foods. Go figure. I love fermented foods, and that's probably the best whole food way to get B vitamins. Or you can take the pills, or a lot of, cheese, egg yolks. There's nutritional yeast too, flakes, which is a fermented food basically, grass-fed butter. Those are your big B vitamin sources. And exercise is another. That's the number 3 of the core 4. And take it easy. Depending where you're at, just start slow. But all you really need, of course, there's a lot of studies coming out now that's just 30 minutes a day. And it could be just 30 minutes of walking. And weights are also something that I would incorporate, unless you have an active lifestyle. But these are the basics. And weights 3 times a week. Find your way. This is my way, actually. I really respond well when I can do this. And honestly, sometimes I find it hard to walk 30 minutes a day. So I go for a 10-minute walk. I'm like, okay, I'm just going for a 10-minute walk. And I try to do that 3 times a day. So whatever it takes. And after I eat, I sometimes walk around the house for 5 minutes, especially when it's storming outside. Anyways, yeah, whatever it takes, just get your body moving. The exercise will really help to reduce stress and keep your elimination systems going. Drink water, making sure you're drinking water. If you're doing any kind of detox, or even like this drainage program for 14 days, you're not even going to do the herbal kit. You just want to do these core 4 will help your body to support the elimination systems. Help you support the elimination systems. So 2 liters to a gallon a day, I'd recommend. I'd recommend alkaline minerals added. You can find all those minerals in your foods. Obviously, herbs, adding, herbs and spices to your food, that's going to give you your minerals, your alkaline minerals. When your minerals are in balance, it's an alkaline effect, basically. And there's alkaline rich foods, and usually they're the ones with the full balance of minerals, right? And nutrients. So that term I am using loosely. I know there's a lot of controversy with that term. That's what I mean by it's balance. And so it's more about alkaline minerals. Those are your electrolytes. That is the balance that we all need. And we find it a lot in our food. And sea salt, yeah, good food and sea salt. There's that highlighted, jumped ahead there. But deficiency systems, acidosis, what is that like? When you feel, you get the acid breath, you get acid in your stomach, edema, swollen ankles or, calves, just swollen tissue, skin, bloating, dental decay. That's usually a sign, and osteoporosis. So basically you're not getting enough of the electrolytes and alkaline minerals in your diet or water, then it's going to rob it out of your gut, your bones, tissue, blood. Are you getting the jitters? You're probably dehydrated. So getting an anxiety, that's a big part. And when you basically, like, these minerals literally feed your nervous system. Your nervous system is like the electrical system in your body, and it needs electrolytes. I find that really fascinating and connected. So I wish that that was more, yeah, I'd like to do more research on that, but it's totally connected. Inflammation, just any kind of pains, heart issues. The heart runs with, like, it's definitely electrical system there. Anemia, so it's just about mineral balance, the muscle aches, and low energy. Drink enough drink enough mineral water. Watch your energy go up. There's your drainage. There's your elimination. There's your spring reset right there. So some people say, oh, what if I'm too alkaline? That's not very common, but it can be. Usually it's from calcium medication, and it's just a sign that your body is imbalanced. It's the minerals are out of balance. So getting your mineral reserves up. I used to have a list here, but basically, like, good food. So what is that? Green foods. The greener, the better, and properly processed. Like we talked about, like Nourishing Traditions, a lot of recipes on how to properly prepare all your foods. And I recommend Celtic sea salt as your main form of electrolyte in water. So we're going to talk a little bit about water here. So water talk. I listed, this is my opinion. I have been doing this for a long time. I used to work at Optimum Health I started in 99. And then in 2012, I moved to more clinical setting. And we used to sell the alkaline water system. So I have the best at the bottom that I personally have used. And from my experience working at Optimum Health for 15 years. But this system has a 12-stage system. It takes out the fluoride, it takes out the chlorine, and it remineralizes. Plus it has an ionic charge that it adds to the water. So it's basically replicating what you would find from a spring. The spring will come up, and it's just that charge of it moving through all the rocks and the earth, and the hydrogen is charged in it, in the H2O molecule, and it's just so absorbable. So it's like, you're actually getting hydrated. It's not just irrigation through the system. You ever have some water and you just feel it's like it's not leaving the stomach, it's just sloshing around? Your water doesn't have the right mineral balance. So, and it's probably not charged. Most water isn't, unless you get it straight from the spring. Distilled water, though, I love the idea of it. I follow some practitioners, Dr. Group. I know Sharon and I are big fans. And distilled water is totally pure, and it's easily, taken into the body. It does need minerals, though, so it could potentially take minerals from your system, from your gut, your bones, your blood, your tissue. But it can also work as like a bit of a detox. Like, it helps to pull potentially heavy metals, like gently. So it's going to help to flush that. But then you want to replace and make sure you're having the right kind of food and some, and then eventually I would recommend, after you kind of go on a distilled, if you're drinking distilled water, making sure you're putting Celtic sea salt back into it, or putting it on your food, and making sure your diet is like primo nutrient dense, mineral dense. Then you get a reverse osmosis, another, very takes away all the fluoride, all the chlorine, all the impurities, leaves you with a tiny bit of minerals, but it's a really good way to clean the water and guarantee you're not going to get contaminants and more toxins in your water, and helps to pull, potentially harmful minerals out of your system as well. The Kangen, I haven't had too much experience with it. It's a little more expensive than the Alkaviva. These water systems are $2,000. Actually, $2,800, I believe, is the price now. I got mine 20 years ago, and it's still amazing. I just replaced my filters. It's about $200 a year. I am actually a representative for this. This isn't a paid promotional video, but I am a representative. So if you guys want a water system, I can get you a really good deal. And I know the distributor, Andrea Sweetnam, and she's local, Edmonton. Kangen is a little more expensive, but it's a similar idea. I'm sure you might have heard of the Kangen. And again, they have the alkaline rich water because they use those mineral rocks that are replicating what nature would provide if you got it straight from a spring, right? And I believe they ionize the water as well with a charge, so it replicates the spring water. Then there's a Berkey. Berkey apparently does take out all the chlorine. I don't know if it takes out all fluoride. If anybody knows anything, you can put it in the comments. But that one, you don't have to plug it in either. It's a little more affordable. They're about $500. I really think that's a good system. And then they have, usually in their filters, they have a good mineral base. Santevia, same thing. I think it's a 6-stage filter and minerals. And Brita's just activated charcoal. So it's basic. You get most of your chlorine out of there. Fluoride's not going to be removed. I don't know why Edmonton puts fluoride in their water. I'm sure. Do we all know the fluoride thing? It's in our water to help protect our teeth. That's why. It's a supplement. But there's a lot of studies that have shown that it actually causes brain damage. So it's a neurotoxin in certain levels. So I really believe that we should try to filter our water. A Brita won't take out the fluoride. But Santevia, I think it's closer. But the alkaline water system, the Alkaviva system, does. That's enough about water. All right. And so this is kind of a rehash. I already talked about this. So anti-nutrients, taking them out, because that will rob your body of the minerals. So again, nourishing traditions, baby. And nature's electrolytes. So all these nutrient-dense foods, unrefined salt, sea salt's best. Himalayan salt. Good, cave salt sort of thing. Fermented food and drinks, you all know I love that. Seaweed, spirulina, all this good stuff. You know, herbal tea, herbal tinctures, that bitters formula, you're going to get a schwack load of beautiful minerals in that. Medicinal mushrooms, bone broth. That's the only alkaline giving animal protein too, by the way. That's why I love my bone broth. And properly prepared leafy greens and veggie broths, right? Stick all that in a broth and have that daily. All right, so that's a lot about A. So taking care of the ABCs of detox here. A is number 1. So that was a lot, right? But that's the foundation of making sure if you're not doing all that, don't do a fast. I mean, go ahead and do a fast, but you're probably going to get a healing crisis. You might not. I'm just going on my experience from clinical times. I've been through a lot of cleanse groups. I've probably seen about I'd say 50 plus people I worked directly with during these cleanse groups. And when I did the liver flush, even though we tried to prepare all this, even 30 days, people still got healing crisis reactions. So you never know. You got to really get to know your body. And that's what detox and all this can do. You get to know your body. You start, especially if you want to jump into a fast, you'll get to know your body really quick. Calgary. Somebody moved to Calgary. Their teeth started to disintegrate. Apparently, she claimed it was from no fluoride in the water. Well, there you go. Well, I don't know. Let's talk about that. I mean, I don't use fluoride toothpaste. I have used a fluoride filter from 20 years ago. I go to a dentist every 10 years and they're like, what the heck are you doing? Your teeth are amazing. I get no cavities. So I am a walking example of having no fluoride and having good teeth. But, maybe she was in a homeostasis of her body was used to fluoride, because fluoride is supposed to help strengthen the enamel of the teeth. So it's not necessarily getting bone building. It's the enamel that it's strengthening. So she could have been in a homeostasis where her body needed that. She needed that poison. It's a part of the whole trace mineral balance. And so who knows what was going on, but that's a really interesting story. I've heard the story before too. Thanks, Evangeline. So just get to know your body, right? And where is your homeostasis at? That's what I would assume. Just thought it was an interesting statement for sure. Yeah. Okay. So ABCs. So hopefully that's all kind of clear and good. B is for bowels. So we talked about the bowels already and the gut microbiome. That's a pretty big system there. You can see in that little diagram. I love these stats because this is what I talk about in my fermentation course, because it's all about the gut, I believe. Disease starts and ends in the gut. We have 5 pounds of bacteria, optimally. We have 5 pounds of bacteria in our gut. 11 trillion bacterial cells, and we only have 1 trillion human cells. So bacteria outnumbers our human cells. We're more bacteria than we are human in an optimal condition. And, when everything's running smoothly, that you do have that many bacterial cells. It's breaking down your starch for you. It's breaking down your sugars for you, so you don't get diabetes. Getting all your friendly bacteria in balance is so important. The gut is considered an endocrine, so it's a hormonal. So hormonal issues can stem from having, not enough bacteria in your gut. Again, hello, fermented foods and prebiotic fibers, right? There's a lot of studies showing, this is Dr. Mercola. He has a clinic and he does a lot of his own research there, clinical research. 80% of our immune systems are in the gut. So when you have enough bacterial culture, your terrain, as they call it, is strong. And so you're not going to get susceptible to all the poisons and the toxins that make us sick. 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut. This is controversial, but this is what they're getting at basically, is that our gut can help to produce hormones or, not produce hormones basically, and neurotransmitters, which are hormone-like. And dopamine is also 50% of dopamine is produced in the gut with other things, right? The liver plays a big role in that, so do the adrenals. So the nervous system, you have your autonomic nervous system. That's the nervous system that it just does its own thing. It's kind of our subconscious. And it's kind of, so basically it's from what we've been doing for how many years, and it's just on autopilot sort of thing. It's literally wrapped around your intestines. In the iridology reading, there's a chart. The chart actually has the autonomic nerve ring, so I can see how healthy it is, or if it's spastic. That's something that's really cool when you get iridology. When you guys get iridology, I know a lot of you have, and it's so much fun. We should do another clinic where I have a group of people and I do like 10-minute sessions, and yeah, that's always fun. So yeah, just back to the point, all disease begins in the gut. Like I said, that's pretty obvious. So we want to nourish the gut. We want to move that colon, get things moving and flowing. And so our drainage systems are working. So then we can prepare ourselves for more detox. And even like the drainage itself we're detoxing. Elimination is detoxifying. It's going to help to move things out of the colon. If there is chronic issues in the colon, then there's probably some, heavy fecal matter that's going to be all tarred up and stuck in there. But make sure you get the drainage systems going before you get deeper with your detox, right? So these are all the basics. Here are some basics. Got fiber, 35 grams a day. Like, who's doing that? Nobody. 7 to 10 cups, 1 cup servings, guys. No big deal. And 3 to 5 of those should be leafy green vegetables. I mean, this is optimal. And this is where, fermentation comes in. Because it's 100 times more potent. The fibers they're pre-digested. They're easier to assimilate. Prebiotics are found in like herbs. So we have our herbal tincture. Well, the herbal tincture is actually, it's extracted, but you do like the colon sweep, for example. That's all prebiotic herbs. They're in a powder form. You're going to get, and basically, like, I don't have the conversion, but I'm going to estimate, but you're going to get a few cups. You like my conversion? Few cups per teaspoon of powdered herbs, because the wild herbs, they're like potent prebiotic fibers. A lot of plants work differently, like have more prebiotic. They feed the more nutrients, basically, what I'm trying to say, in the plant, the more they feed the bacteria. So you hear about prebiotics, basically. Prebiotic is a fiber, and the ones that have the highest count are the ones that have a lot of the nutrients. So you get like things like blueberries and wild green herbs. They have a lot of polyphenols is one of the terms. I'm not a chemist, but basically what the research is showing is that the more nutrients that you're getting, the more nutrient dense. So wild herbs. So eat your dandelion greens. There is one of the strongest prebiotic fibers. Dandelion greens, dandelion root, all that fiber in the root. And the wilder, the better, the more nutrient dense. Hydration. That's a big, I was just saying earlier, if the colon's not moving, it's probably due to dehydration. I said this was going to be an hour, and I could see that we're already almost at the hour. Thanks for being with me, guys. It's amazing. So moving, fasting, intermittent fasting, eating less, but that's next steps kind of thing. Fermented foods, bone broth, that helps to repair the colon. 1/2 to 1 cup daily, or collagen powder is nice. There's a study that rheumatoid arthritis was reversed in 3 months. This is a lot of bone broth after 1 liter per day of really gelatinous bone broth. That was a study out of California. I can get you that study. What was it? Garden of Life, I believe, published that. Mindful eating. Like, this is an easy thing to do, guys. Here's your DIY. Mindful eating, stress-free mealtime. Take 3 breaths before food. Do some prayers. Pray over your food. So you take that moment to get out of fight or flight and be conscious with your food. Don't be thinking about anything else. There's a whole, like, Chinese medicine talks a lot about this. This is spleen health. So it's your body's way of assimilating things and giving life to all the red blood cells. It's just, you can literally just take 3 breaths before every meal, drink your water, do the core 4. There's your detox. There's your drainage. Every time you eat, it's an opportunity to nourish your body. So eat consciously, breathe while you eat. Very important. So the nutrients of fermented foods, I'm going to kind of skip over this. We already talked about this. It is so nutrient dense, and that's why it makes, like, fermented foods will actually be your prebiotic and your probiotic. So they are really important. As long as there's food particles, like beet kvass is a drink. There's like literally no fiber in there. And the prebiotic is what you really want for that. But there is nutrients in beet kvass. There's a little bit of prebiotic, but it's the fiber, it's the starch that really feed and give you that excellent extra prebiotic goodness. So the ABCs of detox. The last one is C is for cleanse, and that's your harsh ones, right? So basically, what we're getting from this is that if you're going to do one of these harsh cleanses, you want to make sure A and B is in order before you do C. So I hope that all makes sense. And so, yeah, maybe just fasting on apples. That's what we're going to recommend for the spring reset. That's all you eat. Honestly, I thought this was a cute joke to kind of like start. So what do we do for the spring reset? People ask me, like, what kind of dietary recommendations? Just do your regular, what you're doing, kind of follow the core 4. We know what junk food is, maybe 80-20. So 20% junk food, or eliminate it altogether for 2 weeks. Actually, right there, if you are used to chronic junk food eating, all winter, you've been eating all the wrong stuff, and it, you feel heavy, lethargic, all those things, and you want to feel better, just eliminating that alone and starting the core 4 by, sleeping enough, not stressing, working on stress, drinking enough water, starting to exercise, eating apples a day instead of burgers, you're going to get an amazing reset. Your elimination system is going to love you so much. And it will also love you if you do my detox kit. Or just find some bitters. Herbal bitters are the way to support the major system. The liver is your second biggest, but like it has the biggest job of the body for sure. And so the reason why I recommend bitters is because it just supports the bile flow. It helps to thin the bile, helps the liver to kind of thin it out. So after winter, it gets really thick and cloggy. That's where gallstones get formed, right? And so what bitters does is it kind of just thins it all out and helps it be released. And then what the bile does is it goes in and it's kind of like a disinfectant to the bowels. and then it helps it flow better. And so fats don't get clumped up, don't get clogged up, and it helps keep the flow going. So in my bitters blend, here's a picture of all of the herbs that are in there. And everyone was foraged except for the gentian. I have gentian root that I just add because it's the classic, most bitter herb on the planet. It's a pretty flower, but I see the root that I use, so it's actually brown. And I do it in a tincture. I do a dual extraction, which means that I take the water-soluble nutrients and make sure in the plant, and then the fat-soluble nutrients, so you get the whole picture of the plant in it. And yeah, all of these are from Northern Alberta, from my property up in Westlock County. And I do Canadian thistle instead of milk thistle. I know there's a lot of more research on milk thistle, but there is research on Canadian thistle. And it's close to the milk thistle. It's just the research is on mostly the milk thistle. And it's an extract too on the milk thistle. And that'll rebuild liver cells. So we're just here to use it for the bitter component. And, this is just a basic, easy peasy starter drainage reset. I call it a detox kit, but it's basically, I always said, it's all about nourishing our detoxification systems. It's simple, right? And then, so you're going to take that every time you eat, basically. I recommend 30 drops 2 times per day. And that'll last you 15 days with the bottle that you get. It's right here. If you can see. It's going to be backwards. Oh, there we go. So I got spring reset drops, and you could take it every time you eat. So you could split that up. I even say it on the bottle here, 15 to 30 drops, 4 to 2 times per day. So then make sure you have a 15-day supply, just because it's 30 mils. And you could split it up and just take a little bit every time you eat. If you want to go slow, including bitters, it shouldn't give you any reactions. It should actually make you feel better, and it's just going to slowly clean. But yeah, start slowly. If you have any concerns, I know that some people were talking about this. Excited to do a detox, recommendations for various products. Yay, thanks, Fola. I'm just making sure. I know we're going to be going over time. We have time. I'm just going over the detox kit, and then we're done, and I do questions at the end. So yeah, so go slow. I was just going to say that Evangeline, not to point you out, but you're awesome. And you've asked great questions, and you're talking about somebody that has never detoxed before. And so they're a little leery of doing this. And of course they are. So, maybe they just want to go with the core 4, because if they've never detoxed before, chances are they probably might not lead a healthy lifestyle. This might all be new to them. Drinking alkaline water, they drink tap water. So just go get a filter, go to Santivia filter. It's most affordable. Or, I don't know if you want my friend's $2,000 filter. Anyways, we'll talk. But, where do you want to start? If you're going to start with bitters and all those lifestyle changes, then just go slow. So start with 15 drops, just a few drops on your tongue. When you taste the bitter, it goes, the vagus nerve gets activated, and it tells the liver to start producing bile and to get the flow of bile going. So it goes in and it gets ready for the food that's about to come down, especially any kind of fats. And fats they're the hardest to break down in the body. And that's where the liver comes in. That's one of the first things. So there you go. And then you want to take it 30 drops in the evening before or after dinner. Yeah, so you can take it even after food, before food, during food. Doesn't matter. So you get this little insert with the kit. You basically get this. And then you get the fiber blend. So we get the bitters. You get the fiber blend. And so what's in the fiber blend? We get zeolite clay. There's activated charcoal, diatomaceous earth. We got some dirt, we got some clay, and there is a nourishing whole herb powders. So I kind of make it mysterious on this little insert, but there is a list of all these different, they're whole herb powders. So that's where the prebiotic fiber comes in, because these herbs have their fiber attached. They're in their whole food state, right? And so the list here, I'll just read it off. It's on the label. The colon sweep, it's backwards. And people have noticed lots of more energy from this because there's adaptogenic herbs, which means it helps your adrenals to adapt. It gives food to the adrenals so they can give you more, healthy adrenaline when you need it and get up and go. Go-go powder, we'll call it. So the list is mullein. There's licorice root, which is really good for soothing the colon and keeping things flowing, get the mucus in a healthy state, not a sticky state. Eleuthero, which is Siberian ginseng, you might have heard of, another excellent, very gentle, adaptogenic herb. Gaducola, give you lots of energy for this, adaptogenic as well, good circulatory herb. Hawthorn berry, another circulatory herb. Hawthorn has naturally a lot of lipase, so again, it'll break down the fats. Like, this is just a good way to help to get the fat going and, metabolized. A lot of people have noticed weight loss from this and less bloating and stuff like that. Ginger, calming for the stomach, digestive herb. And then there's cayenne and lobelia, which is like an old herbalist tradition. That's kind of like the catalyst. Cayenne, obviously, catalyst means it gets things moving. So cayenne, obviously, right? And cayenne's one of the spicy foods that actually repair the gut, help to calm things down, help to get blood flowing better. If somebody's having a heart attack, you want to give them cayenne powder, and it actually gets things flowing and opens up the vessels. And it's very healthy. It's not like chili powder can be kind of hot and raw and can destroy, can basically burn the tissue kind of thing, right? Where cayenne actually heals. So I love cayenne. And lobelia, it's called the backpack herb. Again, it works well with cayenne together. So it gets that catalyst, movement, circulation, elimination, drainage, flowing. And then I added a triphala, which is a 3-herb combo. It's the most gentle laxative. Amla berry is a part of that, which I'm sure if you've ever heard of, it has lots of vitamin C in it. So it's very nutritive, very building for the tissue structure of the colon, right? The collagen structure. And it's a gentle laxative. That's why I put it in there. It's one of my favorites. I get really good results. I've seen really good results in my clinical practice with triphala. And this is taken in the morning, right? Empty stomach. So if you have your coffee in the morning like me, or I have a matcha latte, I get one of those like little hand blenders, and you only need a 1/4 teaspoon to start. And I would totally recommend that. Just see how you go. Literally see how you go. You know what I mean? And then if you want to, work your way up to a teaspoon, this is going to last you longer than 15 days. This has 15 1 teaspoon servings. So last session in the fall, we had people like, I have lots of powder left over. Just keep going, right? Why not? This is something that will really help to get your bowels going, and then the slower the better, and it'll just slowly go in and help work away at all the tar and the parasites might be in there, whatever is going on, and give you a little bit of energy, give you prebiotic fibers, and keep things moving. So it can be very energizing. Yeah, and it's a 15-day supply, actually. No, it's a 14-day supply, pardon me, if you do 1 teaspoon a day. But like I said, I would start with 1/4 teaspoon and just see how you go. Because if you take 1 teaspoon, you might go to the washroom. Even though it's all gentle, everybody's different. I am actually very sensitive to even triphala. I can't even handle any other laxatives. But anyways, and too much information maybe. But yeah, I have to start. When I start this again, I usually take this. Actually, I take this a lot. I take it just about every day. I love it. And when I have stopped though and restarted, I had to start back at the 1/4. I did the mistake. I took a whole teaspoon. And I was in the bathroom a lot. So don't do that. So start slow. Just know your body. Find your body, where it's at. Okay, the last part of this detox kit is bee kvass. No, where's the label? They're all backwards anyways, but I have, you can make your own. I have a lot. I don't ship ferments because obvious reasons, and they're alive and glass and heavy, and shipping's expensive. So I have these bee kvass DIY kits. I have, I'm talking to Mike Evangeline. That's right. That was before. Okay, sorry. Beet Kvass DIY kit. So it's just salt and clove and like instructions. Beet Kvass is so easy. Like, here you go. If you guys just want to do the core 4, take care of all your basic lifestyle needs and make your own beet kvass. Go get some beets, some salt. I recommend clove because clove is like anti-parasitic. It has high antioxidants. It makes the beet kvass taste really nice. And make your own. You get this and ferment it on your counter. It takes like 3 to 4 days to brew. And then that is one of my favorite because beets really get things moving. They have nitric oxide potential in your body. So that's a catalyst. That'll get your drainage systems going. Has lots of ferments, obviously, lots of antioxidants. And then, beets they have all these nutrients that help to support the liver. Very nourishing for all the detox systems. So with the kit, though, I give you 2 bottles of beet kvass, and then I recommend, 1 tablespoon daily with food. These are condiments. Ferments are condiments, so it's supposed to be with your food. You're literally getting probiotics in there. You get your digestive enzymes. You get like a multivitamin with all that nourishment, and then specific to each, vegetable, like beets have a lot of its own nutritional power. So I say 1 to 3 tablespoons daily. This will last you in the kit 14 days if you do 1 tablespoon. I think 1 or 2. I haven't really done the math, but I try to give you a little bit more just in case you want to take more. And then obviously it's so easy to make. And I have a beet kvass class on this YouTube site. I think it's like 18 minutes. And I show you how easy it is to make. So there you go. And then quickly, we're at 12:13, a little bit over, but we're just about done. I just wanted to go over. So the cleanse group, if beet kvass is amazing, right, Sharon? Yeah. So cleanse group, I just kind of wanted to go over like what's going to happen. If you guys join the cleanse group, some people want support, some people don't. I don't know wherever you're at. Some people actually only want the cleanse group and they're not going to get the kit. But I just like to be here for you. If you want to talk to me, I can relate with all your cleansing issues or questions or going further because I'm a very experienced cleanser. I've done 17 liver flushes. Anyways, not to brag, but I want to do a liver flush at the end here. So I'll get to that here. So we're doing our spring clean. We're opening our pathways. We're getting the drainage going, right? So I just kind of do it'll be a daily email. So you're going to get a daily email from me. So that's what you'll sign up for. I'm going to do the chat in Facebook. There's a group, an event I put on the Herbal Mama page in Facebook. And that's where I'm going to also put like every day I have a chart that kind of builds this little booklet. I used to give away these. I have a booklet and it will be ready by Tuesday. So everybody that does sign up, I'm going to send it ahead of time so you can get ready during the week. I have 14 recipes and then there's 14 days of prompts and it's just kind of learning. It's education is power here. And it's just a little this was a lot of information, maybe for some, maybe not for others. And so even more information, yay. But then it's in a book and it's all written down. And it's basically a lot of these slides kind of like, and just a little bit more in depth, like, inflammatory foods and little like a morning tradition that I recommend and talking about, what we already talked about, drainage before detox, why detox fails sort of thing. So number 2 is hydration. We talked about that. And I have like herbal teas I've been experimenting with and making them really yummy. And I do like this 30-minute steep in a big mason jar and drink it throughout the day. And you can do there's like a whole cancer therapy that we used to, I know I said the C word, that we used to, supportive therapy that we used to recommend. And you'd make a big, strong brew and store it in your fridge for 2 weeks and drink, a couple tablespoons a day is all you need. But I mean, I want to work with herbs that really support the drainage systems, mostly lymphatic. So like red clover, nettle, cleavers, and we'll talk about all those herbs, hydration versus dehydration, irrigation versus hydration, stuff like that. Gut health, we'll talk about ferments, obviously, as if I'm not going to talk about ferments. And I have a recipe for beet kvass, how to make beet kvass. I made this really beautiful little chart I'm really proud of. So I'll, like I said, email a day. keeps the doctor away. And then the the Facebook group on my Herbal Mama page in the event. So everybody that's in here, and you RSVP'd, so I think that's most of you. If you didn't RSVP on my page under this Spring Reset Cleanse group, then maybe drop your email in the chat and I can send you the recording link that's going to be on here anyways. And I can give you the links to go to find this information, sign up for the detox group, or just chat with me and we can figure it out. Okay, so yeah, liver support. Day 5, lymph. Oh yeah, lots of information on lymph I've been researching, so that's exciting. Herbs you can take. Yeah, so I have it's all planned out. And then on the 8th at 11:11 again. And I mean, if that time doesn't work, I might be able to switch that time if anybody wants to. I work from home, so I know everybody probably has a real job, so it might be hard, but 11:11, and then there'll be a recording. And if you want to email me questions before, I can address it in the recording. And just as like a, check-in, integration, live video, Q&A, and then we'll go into more breath work, meditation. I'm going to send you all my favorite meditations. Joe Dispenza, baby. It's all about it's like Taoist breathing techniques. They've transformed my life. I love it. And nervous system support. So lots of nerve foods. And I'd like to talk about microdosing because that has really made a huge difference in my life for motivation and nervous system, groundedness. Love it. And yeah, so day 10, day 11, every day, got some juice, jello, gelatin recipes. And then movement shaking. I'll send you some of my favorite fascia videos, which Evangeline knows what I'm talking about. And then light detox days. We'll talk about resting. And then celebration and next steps. So kind of reflection. On the 15th will be the talk. We'll kind of I'll go over maybe some things, and I will send you some information on the 14th about if you want to go keep going, right? I would recommend the next steps would be gut wellness. So I have this gut blend that I recommend. It has berberine extract, but it's in a whole food. It's barberry herb. There's white pine. And actually barberry herb and white pine were recommended back in the COVID days for helping to get rid of parasites or viruses. So it's a really good kind of a next level to really kind of get to the healing and sealing the gut and clearing potential parasites. It's not a parasite cleanse per se. It's mostly for healing and sealing. I've had so many good results with people with food allergies and just getting their gut back in order. Obviously more ferments, and it's a 30-day kit with Katerina. Katerina couldn't make it here, but she's going to watch the recording. Hey, Katerina. She got that kit. Oh, no, you got the No, yeah, you got that kit. Sorry. And she got parasite kits. So many things. Okay, so many kits. There was also parasite cleanse we could talk about. But I would say next step after this, if you wanted to go further, I would do the gut. We're doing A's. We're getting the core 4 and getting our bitters going, getting the drainage going. And then next step would be really honing in on the bowels and the gut microbiome. So yeah, every Fermentation Friday, we're going to have a talk. So the 15th will be kind of integration day celebration, and then liver flush. I'll talk about the liver flush. I'll talk about little tricks you can do. You don't have to do the whole crazy fasting flush. Dr. Group talks about this as just doing the liver flush ingredients every morning, plus making sure you're doing a bowel flush. We'll talk about that. So I'll have it all kind of written up in a nice little chart. I'm revising all my charts I started these cleanse groups in 2012. So I have been revising and researching, and I love it. All right. So we're going to wrap it up. Here we are, 1222. Love these numbers. So yeah, so if you want to join the cleanse group, website, sign up. You'll see May 1st cleanse group. If you bought a kit, you're in for free. Just click on the free link, and I will send you an email anyways and make sure everybody's clear. If you want an iridology reading, it's on my site, Herbal Mama, theherbalmama.com. Go into the shop and you'll see the $50 quickie or you can do a live Zoom call, kind of consult with me, and that's 111. And both, I step you through how to take a picture. So there's instructions on there how to take your own picture, or I can do it right on a Zoom call. Usually you need somebody with you and a flashlight. Anyways, and then you can get your kind of personalized gut health blueprint. And I can see where all the toxic buildups are, which elimination system needs the most attention, and I'll recommend which herbs and potential foods and, lifestyle sort of thing. And then obviously I have lots of herbal bitters left. I have 6 detox kits all made up. I can make more. So if you guys want any, pick up in Edmonton this week, or I can ship across Canada. Shipping to BC was $29. That was for 3 kits. Thunder Bay was $36. I do Canada Post. So if anybody is in Canada here, but yeah, so thanks so much. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat. We're all finalized here. We're finny. It's 12:22. Yes, we were jumping with Jules Horn. He's a great, he's very motivating, isn't he, Evangeline? I got my little guy in the background there. Oh, I love you too. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for being here this whole time. 1 hour with the Herbal Mama, just talking this whole time. So Full is excited to do our detox with all of us. Hey, so we're gonna kind of be a little group in the Facebook event on Herbal Mama. For now, I'm working with a website guy. We're going to have like more of a forum on my actual website. I can't figure it out. I'm techie, but I'm not that techie. Fascia motivation. Yay. Yeah. Fascia, move that fascia. And like I'm finding out, it's all about getting your hydration and your elimination pathways, as well as actually moving your body and stretching, and start slowly. That's so great. Body World showed where all the Body World. Is that still going on? That was at the RAM, I think it was. I forget where that was. But yeah, I mean, the nerves are huge. Like, it's a huge system, and it's all connected through the adrenals. The adrenals are the boss of the nerves. So feed those adrenals, baby. At the Space Science Center, it's still there. Maybe that's something that'd be kind of fun. I should do a little like live video. Here we go, guys. Look at the nerves. Oh, years ago, yeah. Actually, I think I went to Toronto when it was there. I was traveling. It's not still there in Edmonton. Okay, that's fine. Years ago. All right, so any more questions? Any questions? This is all clear, right? I just noticed actually on the cleanse group list here, support natural detox pathways. I talked about that. And GLP-1. The whole peptide, injectable peptide thing that's going around. You can do that naturally. It just takes time. Everybody wants convenience. I get it. But mark my words, I will never inject anything into my body or my face, anything. I'll just age gracefully. And also, there's a whole thing, actually, Donna Schwank with Cultured Foods for Life. If you go find her, she talks a lot about, there's a lot of research with GLP-1 pathways, and they're just, you can activate that pathway naturally with enough fiber, prebiotic fibers, and fermentation. And the stronger the ferment, the better. What she's finding is like the ferments like in milk. So milk, kefir, yogurts, the protein in the milk fermented literally give you those peptides, and the fermentation activates those. So you want your elimination pathways flowing, or else nothing works in your body. So you have to inject it, right? Makes sense. So get those pathways going and make sure you're consuming enough fiber. There's a lot of studies showing even without the ferments, it's just fiber, 35 grams. I think it was actually 40 or 50 I read just the other day. So I have a little write-up I'm working on with that I want to include in the cleanse group. So we'll get like the Coles notes on all the latest research on how to activate your GLP-1 pathway naturally. How exciting. And we'll build energy that way and glow the natural way. Am I right? and then see who wants to do the liver flush in the end. All right, I think I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for joining me, guys. Until next time, and I'll see y'all in the group and our next Fermentation Friday call.